Broadcasting from the gulag.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get this like 5 seconds, and I'm gonna get this. Just gonna send out the obligatory "We Live."
Yep, me too.
Let's see. I mean, gosh, that camera was really foggy. Quote. We gonna post, and we ready to rock and roll. All right then. Excuse me. Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this or watch this, you tune into the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. I am one half of the dynamic duo A1. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you find the good podcasts. Searching for It's a Black and White Thing or Brains and Bars. You can also check us out by going to YouTube. Searching for Brains and Bars. Please rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars, leave comments, share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's those boys again. And as usual, I'm joined by Mr. Rocky Top himself. A Ward in the building. What's good with you, man?
In the building, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. A Ward. I am A Ward on most social media. I am A Ward. I think, man, I don't even know my own website. We'll figure it out one of these days. But yeah, it's been a good week. Football is back. Praise God. Just came back from another battle. Just got announced another battle today. So everything is, all the parts are moving. All the parts are moving. And I'm just enjoying the ride for this last quarter of the year.
So speaking of, Hollow versus A Ward just announced Black Ice Cartel, the cage going down October 6th. I'm going to give you the ISO screen. I want you to talk a little bit about you versus Hollow.
Sounds good.
Hold on. Let me get it right, though. Let me get you right. There you go.
Yo, ISO in the building. Yes, make sure y'all tune in. Black Ice Cartel, if you're not familiar with the league. Look them up on YouTube, subscribe to their channel. They have an event that they do a couple times a year called The Cage, where you're battling in an actual octagon, like a cage type environment. It's shot very well. If you're not familiar with that, just go watch like Tay-Rock versus Bankhead, and you'll kind of see what it looks like. I get to battle another Mount Rushmore guy, one of the legends of battle rap, somebody that's a household name. And the minute you mention the word battle rap, you know who Hollow Da Don is. So I get to battle Hollow Da Don October 6th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is only about 8.5 hours drive from Kansas City. So not too crazy. So, pull up, drive, fly, do whatever you got to do to be there. I'm excited for it. 3 rounds, another legend on my resume. Yeah, man, it's just going to be a good event. The rest of the card is dope too. 40 Bars versus Vixen, Mike P versus Bankhead, C3 versus Danger Zone. Oh, and then just randomly you get to see Fonz, Rum Nitty, and JC battle as well against their prospective opponents and Clean Paper. So, man, all kinds of top-notch names on this card. Great battles. And, yeah, I'm excited for it. And that means A1 is still in the middle of doing something, and that's why he gave me the ISO. So, with that being said, I just got back from Alaska, so I kind of recap you on that. I just battled a guy named Ratchet Rico in Alaska, in Anchorage this past weekend on a card where Danny Myers battled a guy named Heat. There was a couple other local battles on that card as well. Super, super dope. Anchorage showed out. Like, when you go to these small leagues or these small cities, you often wonder, do they really even know or watch battle rap in these small areas? And Anchorage really, really did show out. I mean, there was probably 75 to 100 people in that bar, packed out, enjoying themselves. People, driving from other cities in Alaska to say, I came to see you, just really, really rewarding, really encouraging to know that, battle rap really goes out beyond the bottom 48 or the lower 48, I think they call it. So yeah, it was super exciting in Anchorage. Ratchet Rico, that battle should be dropping soon. A War versus Great Britain should be dropping soon. My battle with the Saurus should be dropping in a month or so. So yeah, got a lot of stuff that's gonna be dropping on YouTube coming up. And obviously the Hollow Da Don battle. So we back. You good?
Yeah, I forgot to mute myself, so that huge burp is gonna come through. I don't know if I can edit that in re-air. Anyway. Yes, sorry about that. No, technical difficulty. So, but yes, thank you for recapping Black Ice Cartel's cage event, talking about your battle against Ratchet Rico, Great Britain. That battle dropping soon. The Source, that battle dropping soon. We will be doing a a prediction card for Black Ice Cartel's cage event because, like you said, there are a lot of dope battles on there. That Vixen versus 40 Bars was one that jumped out to me immediately. JC is battling Showstopper, right?
Yep. One of them's battling Killer B, one's battling Showstopper. I don't remember which one.
Nitty versus Killer B. Nitty versus Killer B, JC versus Showstopper. I can't remember Fonz's opponent, so forgive me. But yeah, there was definitely like 2 or 3 cards or 2 or 3 battles on that card. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to tune into that. So, yeah, man. So we got a dope show lined up for you. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna start off with college football. As you said so eloquently in your oration, college football is back. Week 1 went down, so you got to see just about everybody in action in week 1. A couple of big games. We're going to start off with, well, first, before we get into everything that happened or the big stories from across college football, we're going to start with the hometown. So we're going to start first with you. Tennessee taking on, who was it? Who did they take on again? Chattanooga. Taking on Chattanooga. They went crazy. Nico, once again, how do you say his name one more time?
Iamaleava.
Yeah. Okay, Iamaleava. He started off 10 for 10, right? He had Twitter set ablaze, Vol Nation going crazy, crying tattoo tears of joy because he's completing deep passes that for the last 2, or not last 2 years, well, parts of the last 2 years.
Yeah, parts of the last 2 years.
You know, all due respect to Joe Milton. Joe Milton has an incredible arm, and he shows it off by overthrowing lots of deep passes. So to have a quarterback that could complete the deep pass, I believe it was a shutout, right? I don't think Chattanooga scored, did they?
No, they ended up getting 3 points. So it was 69-3.
So your granted, obviously it's not a quality opponent, big time opponent, but just your thoughts on the opening weekend for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, in weekends like this, the big thing is to stay healthy, to not be in a close game to where you have to, show your hand too much with any of, your play calling, and to get out there and what I really was glad, and I know it sounds crazy, I was just glad we were able to kick a few field goals, we got a new kicker this year, get him in there. He hit 2 for 2 field goals. I think he hit like a 37 and a 42-yarder or something like that, and it's just like, man, like it seemed like all facets of the game got practice, the depth, guys got out there, got to play a lot of your younger guys, that might end up getting redshirted. And then like what you want to see is that first half, you want it to be dominant, you want to come out and be like, a well-oiled machine. And that's what we were, I think that's the most impressive thing about it. Nico, in the bowl game that he started last year, he ran for 3 touchdowns. I don't think he threw a touchdown. I think he ran for 3 touchdowns. You saw against Chattanooga, like the arm, the talent, and then, I mean, post, I've never seen so much, and it might just, it's just the hype, it's the Nico hype, but I've never seen so many sports reporters and analysts and everybody like publicly going out and saying like, I know it's just Chattanooga, but this guy is, the real deal. You know what I mean? Like Urban Meyer just went, a whole thing, said he's got 10 he threw one to Castles. He did throw one to Castles in the
bowl game?
Bowl game, the tight end. Yep, McAllen Castles. Yep.
Shout out to Roy in the building.
Yep. But yeah, so it's to see like the hype around people just saying like, I know, I understand it's Chattanooga, however, the way the ball comes out, the poise, the accuracy, just how he operates, so it's tough as a Tennessee fan to buy into that kind of hype. You know what I mean? We got NC State coming up. They're ranked 24th. They didn't look too great against Western Carolina. I think they ended up winning by maybe like 10 or something like that last week. But so that'll be it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's like a neutral site. I think it's at the Panthers Stadium. So that'll give us a little bit more insight on what we're looking like. And then then we got Kent State, which will be another game we should win, and then open SEC play at Oklahoma. So I'll start buying into the hype after that Oklahoma win. You know what I mean? Like that's when I'll start. But everybody's healthy. For the most part. Guys got in. And it's just confidence builder. Wide receiver Deontay Thornton last year transferred to us. He was to be that guy. He had an okay season, then got injured. He comes out 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like you just know that guy's feeling like, okay, this is what I came to Tennessee for.
Yeah.
Wide receiver transfer Brazel from Tulane, 86 yards. Dylan Sampson, running back's a beast. But yeah, it was a great game. 69-3. I've been a part of games against nobodies that look like 27-17. Like, I look at Oregon played Idaho, and it was 27-17. Or you look at who was it? I know South Carolina's not great, but they came down to the wire with Old Dominion.
Michigan. Michigan pulled away, but that game was tight for much of that, well, at least for 3 quarters.
Yeah. And so, so definitely, the 69-3 was good to come away that way. Now your game was like the opposite.
Yes, tougher opponent. we won. Tougher opponent. I was truly on the road and in a hostile environment. Like, say what you want about A&M, maybe they haven't had tons of 10-win seasons, much success, but when you go into their stadium, it's 107,000 strong. They're super loud. What people say, the way the stadium is built, it is almost kind of like that sound is like crashing down on you, so it can be super loud. And so, Notre Dame, it was not pretty. My concern going into that game, the offensive line had 2 players who had started games. They had 6 combined starts between the 5 offensive players, right? And so you're going against Mike Elko, who was a really good defensive coordinator. He's a former Notre Dame defensive coordinator. He parlayed his 1 year at Notre Dame into the Duke job into the A&M job. So the way he can run simulated pressures, when you have such a young core, you had a true freshman at left tackle, excuse me. You had a redshirt freshman making his first start at right tackle, and a left guard making his first start. So, super inexperienced, and they made life tough for him. But in the second half, you could see things start to pick up. I don't know who's refereeing the game for Tennessee and NC State, but the 3 worst letters to hear in sports is ACC followed by officials are going to be running the game, because they routinely screw things up, get things wrong. The 4th down play where clearly you see Riley Leonard on replay. I get it. You can't see where the ball is, but you have an idea that he's got it tucked. Yeah. And he got past the line to gain. They overturned that call. They also messed up something in Notre Dame's favor. The drive that led to the touchdown, Bo Collins, he's a grad transfer from Clemson. He makes a great catch, first of all, but then he gets up and he pushes the defender in the back after he makes the catch.
I saw that, yeah.
Got a little bit shoved him. 2-hand shove.
Very excited. Like, I was like, oh, it was almost like aggressive, like belligerent shove. Like,
yes. Yes,
I saw that.
And so he got away with that. He said today in a press conference that he saw the official reach for the flag, but he's like, I don't know if he got distracted or he just decided not to call it, but we got away with one. He says he won't do it again. So, that game was very close to the end. The defense, I was very impressed with the defense. Granted, their interior has 2 of the best interior linemen in the nation. Benjamin Morrison is going to be a first-round draft pick. At corner, Xavier Watts. I don't know where he'll go, but he's going to be at least a day 3 or round 3. So maybe day 2 pick, right? So they got some NFL type talent on that defensive side, but there was a bunch of guys really getting at linebacker. They rotated 5 different linebackers in.
Yeah.
And a lot of them making their first starts really good. The guy who broke up the pass, Christian Gray, to close the game. It wasn't his first start, because I think he started the bowl game, but his true entry into college football, right? Big time college football, playing in that game. And they played really, really well. Al Golden brought an NFL-like defense to Notre Dame, and at least until the offense can get its legs underneath it, they're going to have to be the ones to carry the day. And so, listen, I'm a pessimist. I'd resign myself to a loss in the 4th quarter, in part to get my emotions in check.
Yeah.
Like, look, this way I can't get hurt. I can't be disappointed if they lose the game because this is what I expect. And they pulled it out. So shout out to
Yeah.
them. I think the thing that has annoyed me about college football in week one, and we can move on to, some of the other national headlines, all the talk about the playoff. And I don't know, maybe it was because I watched a lot of ESPN games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with ESPN, they're the ones who are broadcasting, I think, most or if not all the playoff. They're doing their best to hype it, but I don't want to hear about Notre Dame and playoffs in week one. It's a
Yeah. Yeah.
long season. They're going to be favored in all their games. The FPI says they have at least at worst a 60% chance to win. Bro, we don't know what's going to happen
Yeah.
down the stretch. I mean, Georgia Tech ran all over Florida State, beat them up. They're on the schedule. The Naval Academy is because of that triple option is always tough to play.
USC.
USC, they closed out the season in the Coliseum at USC. They just picked up probably the biggest win of week one, I would say, beating LSU. They picked up a statement win. So this is a long season, man.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to be good. They lost to Louisville last year. Louisville comes to Notre Dame this year. Louisville I feel like Brian Brom did a really good job it's not Brian Brom. I know it's Jeff Brom. Excuse me.
Jeff Brom.
Jeff Brom did a really good job in the portal last year, getting good talent. He went back into the portal this year. Louisville could be a game where that could be a tough one. So, I just don't want to. Two things. I hate preseason rankings. I don't feel like we need them. As long as you have good teams, we're going to watch. If you told me Georgia and Clemson was playing and there were no numbers next to their name, I'm tuning in. LSU, USC, I'm tuning in, right?
Yeah.
So you put blue bloods on the screen against each other, we're watching. So that, and like I said, the playoffs, I was just not enthused with all the talk about, Georgia is wrapped up there. They're pretty much already a lock. And Notre Dame is pretty much, bro, it's a lot of football to be played.
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
Cut that out.
Yeah. It was like almost every commercial or just highlight something, you would just see the bracket, like fly across the screen. And you're like, there was at one point that I thought it was cool because I hadn't really thought about it in the Tennessee game where they were talking about, imagine Tennessee gets in and they have one of the first, they don't have a bye. Those are home games, It's like, imagine a night game in Knoxville, in Neyland Stadium, a playoff game, against and how electric it would be, you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, that kind of sounds fire. I'd much rather have the bye, so we would just, you know what I mean? But I was like,
yeah,
ooh, but after that, you just kept seeing it. You just kept seeing the bracket, this, that, you see Miami when they beat Florida, pops up the rest of their schedule and how they're pretty much a shoe-in, And so, yeah, I put you on that. That's what I say with Tennessee. Wait till we get past Oklahoma. Wait till we get, 4, 5, 6 games in, and then I don't mind, you're talking about what needs to happen for the rest of the year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So let's jump into some of the games from this weekend that were interesting. Clemson versus Georgia. Now, the game wasn't interesting. Obviously, first half, I think it was a defensive struggle, right? I think Georgia wasn't able to do much on offense. Clemson, likewise. Second half, Georgia makes some adjustments, and then they end up pulling away in the second half. 34-3 was the final score, and I think this was interesting to me because it became a referendum on Dabo Swinney.
Yeah.
Right? It became a referendum on Dabo Swinney and his lack of, not of using NIL, his lack of refusing to use the transfer portal. And so I would ask you, I'm going to give you a different shade of orange. If you were a Clemson booster, someone with influence, one of the big money boosters, what would your message be to Dabo? As it relates to the transfer portal?
I mean, it's weird with Dabo. I feel like he knows. You know what I mean? It's not like it's something that he doesn't know. It's just how he's built. But I think the message to him would be, we love you. You've won here. You've created. But just as your mama used to tell you, just as quickly as I brought you into this world, I can take you out. You know what I mean? And I think that with Dabo, it's just look, we're appreciative, of what you've created here. But we're on the heels of falling right back into that mediocrity. You're already in the ACC, Like you're already kind of behind the 8 ball there, and now you're not even at the top of the ACC. Yeah, that's the conversation I'm having. So I'm like, I don't care if it's NIL, if it's transfer portal, if it's what. Find out how to get the guys in here. I mean, you just said it was a graduate transfer from Clemson goes to Notre Dame, right? You know, like, so it's not like all of our guys are staying here. So if you're not bringing them in, like, you know, like what are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, look, Georgia had 2 players. First of all, before I say this, shout out to Mama Ward in the building. I just want you to see that comment she put up there, if you can, real quick.
I'm trying to log in. Yes, she can. What?
You said as quickly as I bought, like your mama used to say, as quick as I brought you into this world, I could take you out. Yeah. So I mean,
yeah,
Dabo, yes, Clemson has had some success prior to him, but it's been a lot of futility in between those 1 or 2 years. Well, I think it's somewhere in the 80s where they might have either competed for a national championship or got really close to one. And so 1981. So they won a championship in 1981. And then after, they had a couple of more pockets of success and a little bit of a run. But after that, it was nothing but mediocrity, nothing but a bunch of letdowns and teams that did not meet the expectations that were set for them. Dabo came in, changed all that. You can really pinpoint, I want to say, the Notre Dame game in 2014. I think this is not the year they won a championship, right? Nope, they won in 2016. But things really turned around. That 2014, 2015 game against Notre Dame. It was played in like a monsoon. That game went down to the end. Clemson made a goal line stand to keep Notre Dame out of the end zone and win that game. And that's when Dabo said to bring your own guts, right? Bring your own guts. Mm-hmm. That kind of started the run for Clemson through the next 5 or so years where they win 2 national championships. They beat, I believe, Bama for both of them. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, a bunch of other big NFL talent. And if this was the same college football world from 5-10 years ago, Dabo's approach of we're going to recruit these young men. We're not going to pay them. We have God's NIL, his name, image, and likeness over our program. All of that stuff sounds good.
Wait, did he say that?
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that one. Oh man.
Yeah. We have God. We have NIL. God's NIL, his name, image, and likeness. Yeah, that's a Dabo quote. So, you know what I'm saying? So all of that would resonate 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but the world has changed. And I think Nick Saban got out of the game in part because he realized the landscape of the world has changed. You cannot have that approach in big time college football of we're not going to
line up with how Nick Saban wanted to continue to coach. You know, and it might not line up with how Dabo Swinney. I mean, he might, you know, but yeah, definitely.
But Dabo wants that money though, and that's the thing. Like Dabo's also come out and said, you know, he much rather what did he say? He rather quit than see players get paid. Like, I mean, so he has been very anti everything that college football has become. And I'm not saying that he's not allowed to have that take and that stance, but if you want to win, and if you want to win big, you need to have a robust NIL program, and you need to embrace the portal because there are kids who would love to come to Clemson. Maybe not to play with Cade Klubnik, maybe not to play with him, but if you get the right quarterback, again, Chris Vizina, he's a redshirt freshman. He's the backup. I'm pretty sure the Clemson message boards are calling for him to start because Cade in 2 seasons has not shown to be a guy that you want. I think he went like 100 yards, like 100 yards total in passing.
Like, he's not very good. You know, he started the bowl game against Tennessee 2 years back when we beat them. And he's not very good, you know, and he was a number 1 dual rated quarterback coming out of high school. Like, we're not talking about, we're talking about 5-star, you know.
This isn't Stetson Bennett, right? This isn't, he wasn't ranked like that. He's number 1 in the coming out of high school.
And you know what? He probably, for his own sake, he probably needs to go somewhere and be. I think he could be semi-successful at a smaller, you know what I mean, like a different type of place, you know.
I don't know, bro.
I mean, he's
like, Nah, because that kid that got at Vanderbilt actually, I mean, he wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? He did
He
really
wasn't.
good against Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Cade might need to step down to like one of the
Strong
MAC
safety.
schools.
Oh.
Ooh. Strong safety, that might be need to be a consideration. Seriously,
Yeah.
but like he just isn't really good. I know Roddy White came out and said, ironically enough, that they have too many white players on offense. I had to go look this up. I didn't completely get a chance to look through their roster and see who was starting, but I'm like, dude, I saw a lot of black guys out there getting locked down at wide receiver. Look, I like Phil Maffa, but Georgia's defense is just too fast sideline to sideline. Phil Maffa is a between the tackles guy, and it's hard to run in between the tackles against that team. And let me say this about Georgia. They're getting a lot of hype. They're getting a lot of acclaim because they beat down Clemson, the shell of what we used to know Clemson to be. But that looked like a beatable team. Look, it's game
half, especially that first half. You know, I mean, and you get it. You know, like you said, Notre Dame came together a little bit more in the second half.
Yeah.
You know, and Georgia started clicking. The one thing about Georgia is once they got their foot on the throat, they did. You know, it wasn't like, you know, it was a wrap for them. You know, and so sure. I think that's the culture of what Georgia has. But yeah, you know, the freshman running back, I think, is gonna be nice. Frazier Jr., whatever he's gonna be nice. And they got in the transfer wide receiver from what is it, Alabama?
I know it was one from Vanderbilt, and was the other one Louisville?
Oh, yeah, you might be right. Vanderbilt, the dude.
It was definitely the kid from
Lovett,
Vanderbilt,
Missouri, right? Was it Missouri Lovett? Is he there?
Yes. So Dominic
Lovett, or something like that.
It is Lovett. It might be Lovett. Hold on, let me see. Dominic Lovett. They got from Missouri. They got a kid from Vanderbilt, and I thought there was another one on their team that they got like from Louisville or something like that. I thought there was 3 transfer wide receivers. But again, like if you're Dabo, you have to be looking at what's happening with that program in particular, right? That has now become the gold standard where you once were, and go, okay, maybe I need to rethink some things. Maybe I need to rethink what I'm doing from a transfer aspect. What's up? What's going on? Who's that?
Mila just pulled up on
Mila.
Us. You good? Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so speaking of, so we go from one extreme of thinking between the transfer portal and NIL to another extreme. We're going to go back a couple of days before Saturday. Let's go to Thursday night. Deion Sanders, Colorado takes on North Dakota State, Division II powerhouse, in a game that was back and forth, very close. Ended on a Hail Mary that was caught, but just a few yards short of the end zone. And I know Deion talked about how, at the end of that game, he was heavily criticized because they came out and threw the ball on third down instead of running it. He came out after the game and said, Shador, I guess there was a guy who had not gotten a lot of love, not gotten a lot of attention, and Shador wanted to give him a little bit of shine. And he was just like, son, just run the doggone play. Like, run the football. Like, that was the play that was called. Don't change it. So that was Shador who audible and called a different number. But, there's been a lot of criticism of Deion in terms of, his approach as it relates to the transfer portal, which is completely the polar opposite of Dabo, completely building his team from the portal. I want to give you a number. I'm gonna give you over under, and you tell me what you think. What do you think Deion's recruiting ranking was for this past season, right? So the kids who are now freshmen on his teams. I want to set the over-under at 83.5. Over-under. Do you think Colorado's recruiting class was over 83.5 or under?
Wow. I would have guessed about 50. So I'll say under.
Over. The Colorado recruiting class, I think, consisted of 12. I think it's 12 kids. Their number was 95.
So, I mean, obviously, the portal is where,
He brought in 55 kids from the portal.
Wow.
55 kids from the portal. So when you aggregate his portal rankings and his high school recruiting rankings, it makes you think that, okay, Deion's doing pretty good for himself. Because I went and looked this up. They're 22 when you combine those two together. You take that away, and it's 95. I looked up what his class was in this year. It's also abysmal. And To me, Dion is committing malpractice. He is wasting the what little career that Shador and Travis Hunter has left. Which Travis Hunter, let me ask you this before I continue. Travis Hunter, if you next level, what position do you think he should play? Wide receiver or cornerback?
I'm gonna go defensive back. I'm gonna go defensive back. I
Okay.
mean, he got hands, but to me, he's just not size and speed. I don't see it yet. Like, I mean, it might be there. You might tell me like, "Yo, Ward, he's but I haven't seen like that professional. Like, but he's a dog. You know what I mean? And like when you want a dog, like a defensive back is a dog. If he's anywhere close to like as good of a defensive back as he is a wide receiver, I would play defense.
I agree. So I said, one, I do think he might be a better receiver than he is cornerback, though. I just think the body control, the hands, if he can be taught the route running, and because I too believe he's got that dog mentality, I think he will put the work in to become and refine his route running. He could be a monster at the next level. But I think he could be better as a DB and someone like Deion Sanders that you give we're going to run 15 plays where whether you're a decoy or whether we're going to get the ball in your hands, where you can run and make something happen. So as I was saying, I think Deion is wasting the time of his son and Travis Hunter, because
this is the last year, right?
Yeah, they're both going after this year. It would be a miracle if they stay after this year because they're draft eligible.
Now, is Deion going after this year?
So people, I mean, a lot of people speculate that yes, that the reason he's not recruiting as hard as he could with this much fervor as he is because once Shador and Shiloh too, and I want to leave Shiloh out once because I think Shiloh might be a year ahead of Shador, so this might be his senior season. Once they leave, then he's gone. I know his daughter's already transferred out. His daughter was playing basketball at Colorado. I think she might have went to SMU. But she's gone. And so that he's going to either move on to the next thing or he's just going to ghost the school. I don't know. But here's my thing. Deion Sanders, off the strength of his name alone, if he put in just, I'm going to say Brian Kelly level efforts of recruiting, he could pull a top 20 high school class.
Oh, yeah.
Top 25 at worst, just off the strength of his personality and name. If he went all in, he could pull top 5. I mean, he got Travis Hunter to leave Florida State and flipped him from Florida State to Jackson State of all places. And no disrespect to Jackson State, but we understand that the resources of a HBCU versus a D1 power they're not the same. So if he put in that kind of effort year in, year out, he could have a at worst, top 10 class year in and year out, and he could truly build something that could be a power. Here's
I think you're right, though. It's not that longevity is just not in his goal.
I just don't know. So here's the thing. Deion is a celebrity coach, for better or for worse, right? And I don't say that as a pejorative. I don't say
great coach.
I haven't seen, to me, coaching at that level, it takes years, right? It takes years to build. So I use Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, right? Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame is his first head coaching job, right? So you want to talk about walking into a pressure cooker of a situation, right? And so I have watched him. He's now in year 3. I've watched him make the mistakes in the first 2 years. He's probably going to make more in year 3, right? It's going to shout to West in the building. He says, Deion, well, I don't know if you now, West, you might have to clarify. Are you talking Marcus Freeman is a good coach or Deion?
I think he's talking Deion, but I said he wasn't a great coach. I didn't say he was a bad coach. But I'm just saying, from what I've seen, I mean, even you describing the end of that game, right? Of Shador going and doing whatever the hell he wants. You know what I mean? And throwing the ball, that's the type of leniency and the type of program that is ran, right? And that stuff don't fly when you're playing against the good teams. You know what I mean? He's playing in, where are they even at? Are they in the
Big 12.
Big 12? Yeah.
Big 12 now. Big 12.
Yeah, they all move around, it's like if you're going up against, even an Oklahoma State or even some of these other things, you know what I mean? It's a whole different ball game, And, you saw last year, the rise and fall, and it's just, you got good transfers, got really good players. Now another thing to me is he also looks like when Obama went to the White House, like 4 years later. Like I don't know if you've seen it, but on the sidelines, I looked and was like, man, I think he aged 4 or 5 years in the off season. That man, he look a little old.
Nah, I mean that's just what happens when you put that. You got that just for men going up top, but your real age showing at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. He got that. He got that Beijing rocking up top, keeping them looking youthful, and then he got the little Sly Fox going on down here at the bottom.
What undergrad's talking is, yo, character don't get wins, bro.
Listen, respectfully, it does not get you wins. Like it's great. What did Butch Jones say?
High character guy, but it's college football, bro.
Right, Butch Jones said they were winning at the champions of life, right?
Yeah,
and that got him a swift kick up out of Tennessee, out of Knoxville. Like it's great that you care about
the Tony Dungy's of the world are few and far between when you can be a high character, great coach
and still win. Yeah. So, but again, like I think Deion he's wasting these two young men's talents. They could be a team that could compete for a college football playoff if he really put in the work.
The thing, though, that I don't think that is the mind. I mean, it should be right, winning the national championship, but I think the mindset is top pick, first round. You know what I mean? It's similar to what Calipari does in Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like,
but you could do both.
But I just don't foresee them like locking in on some like we're gonna win. The goal is to win the Big 12, win the national championship. It just doesn't. I don't get that feel from that. I get the feel from it. It's very like independent, and even just throwing guys under the bus, offensive line. I don't know if you saw the Instagram thing where Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are playing, video games against each other, and they're playing with Colorado. Mm-hmm. And he's like, bro, our offensive line is trash. You know what I mean? Like they're literally like saying that, like like to me, the camaraderie, because it's all transfers and it's not a culture of like, yo, we've been here and built something. It's all kind of individual to me from afar,
Yeah, and I know some of the homies feel like I dislike Deion, and my thing is like, no, I don't dislike Deion. I want Deion to be successful because I think that a personality like his is good for college sports. It's good for college football, right? It is what separates college. The personalities are what separates college football from every other game. College basketball, NFL, NBA. The uniqueness of those types of personalities makes it fun. And so having a guy like this and having him around long term is what's going to make this sport more interesting, more fun. It's going to attract more followers and more viewers, right? However, if he does not fix that offensive line, if he cannot get guys in the trenches, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter how much of a character he is. It's not going to matter the character of the young men that he has underneath his tutelage. He's going to be fired. And so to me, I'll ask you this and we can move on to the next topic. How many wins do you think Deion has to get this year to say we are making progress? Is it simply just one win? They have to become bowl eligible or greater than that?
What were they last year? They weren't bowl
4 and 8. I think they went 4-0, and then they lost the last 8.
Let's see, schedule teams. If I can pull this schedule up real quick. There we go. 12, Colorado schedule. All right, we're 1-0.
Big game this weekend at Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be bowl eligible. Yeah, I think bowl eligible. I think after going 4-8 last year, it's just, I mean, but you got 2 top 10 picks on your team on offense. You know what I mean? Like, and I know but it's just like to not be bowl eligible is just wild, But you got at Nebraska, tough game. Dylan Ravioli, whatever his name is.
Ravioli is hilarious.
Yeah, like he's nice. That's a tough game. At Colorado State, Colorado State's already a rivalry, right?
Yep.
Colorado State, I think they beat Colorado State last year.
That was a game they came back. They were down like I feel like 20 plus points. And they made the rally to beat them.
But then you got Baylor, Right now, you got ranked K-State, ranked Arizona, ranked Utah, and ranked Kansas, and ranked Oklahoma State. That's 5 teams that are currently ranked. I know we talk about not loving preseason rankings, but not only there's 5 teams that are currently ranked in the top 20. So like that's already tough. And then your other games are Cincinnati, Texas Tech, UCF, and Baylor. So I mean, yeah, you need to win one of these games, these big games too, on the way to being bowl eligible. You need to knock off an at Arizona or an at Kansas or you need, because I mean, I don't know that they're going to fire Deion Sanders, but I definitely think
not this year.
I definitely think he'd just leave.
Oof, man. I mean, the way. So I hope that's not the case, because what went down with Jackson State, a lot of people were salty with how he left Jackson State, and if he walks away from Colorado to go someplace else, man, oof. It's not gonna be a good look.
He might be able to bring in one of these guys like after Shedeur leaves. He might be able to get to hit the transfer portal and bring in a DJ Lagway or a somebody.
That's hilarious that you got DJ Lagway leaving Florida after 1 year. That's
hey, Billy Napier's out of here, bro. He's out of here.
Man, especially when you got Miami recruits walking talking about don't go here. Don't. Like, logistically, I don't know how you screw that up. You cannot, even if you think you're going to win the game, you cannot have your recruits anywhere near the opposing team for them to be like, come here.
Disrespectful.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they doing this all over your state. Dog. But here's the thing. Last point I say about this. Yes, that Nebraska game is a big game. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes' son. I know Dylan Raiola, his father is really Dominic, who played center in the NFL for a long time. But if you've seen pictures of Dylan, he looks like Patrick Mahomes the fourth, out there with the Oakleys and the Frohawk. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's a big game. If somehow you could take the coaching acumen of Dabo Swinney and mesh it with the portalness of Deion Sanders, you might have the personality of Deion Sanders, you might have the perfect coach for college football, because Dabo is a good coach. He's run a great program, but if he could get some of Deion's willingness to go into the portal and some of that personality, that's a winning combination.
If you think about it, because they both love the Lord, it's really like prosperity gospel and
Calvinism and the prosperity gospel. If they had a baby,
can we just be non-denominational and just
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, man. Let's move on. I think we got one more game we want to talk about. We get into the NFL here. Let me see. No, that was it. We're gonna stop there. I mean, obviously, people saw what happened with Miami. Florida State is cooked. They had a lot. And here's the one thing I say about the portal too, with Deion going into portal so heavy. Obviously, Mike Norvell went and got DJU out of the portal, went and got some other kids out of the portal, and people thought that Florida State was going to continue the success that they built last year. Hey, man, everybody in the portal is not good. Like, everybody's not hitting the portal just because they can't shine.
We're talking about DJU and Kate Klubnik both being on the same team last year, and the fact that they're both terrible. Like my goodness, man. How did Clemson end up with that after Trevor Lawrence? We thought DJ was going to come in right after Trevor. They went Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and then whoo.
I mean, and listen, Kelly Bryant wasn't a bad quarterback. Kelly Bryant gave way to Trevor Lawrence. So it was, I think you're right. I think it was Taj. There might have been one in between Taj and Deshaun, but either way, it went quickly from Taj to Deshaun. After Deshaun left, Kelly Bryant was there. And then the second game of the season, I think Trevor Lawrence took over mid-game for Kelly Bryant. That was it. Kelly Bryant transfers to Mizzou. Kelly Bryant, DJU was supposed to be the next one up, and it hasn't worked for him. Cade Klubnik was supposed to be the next one up. It hadn't worked for them. And I mean, we'll see.
You're right, though. Florida State's cooked. It makes you wonder, were Jared Verse and Jordan Travis that good? You know what I mean?
Keon Cole. Keon Cole.
We're talking about top of the world. We're undefeated, headed to the college football, last four, to injury, to barely beating Louisville in the ACC championship. not making it.
63-3 against
Yeah,
Georgia. And I mean, the kid who ended up transferring out, it makes me wonder, would he have been a better quarterback than DJU?
yeah,
Because he left because he knew he wasn't going to get a shot. He knew that they were going after bigger fish. And so he
yeah.
left before the bowl game, right? So they were automatically down to the third string quarterback going up against Georgia. And I mean, they lost there was a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Jared Verse, there's a kid, I can always see his name, face, but I can never think of his name. He was his interior line mate. He got drafted by the Rams. Trey Benson, the running back. There's the Johnny Wilson, who's in Philadelphia. Keon Coleman, right?
Yeah.
Like they lost a lot of talent off that squad. And so
That's why these preseason rankings don't make any sense.
that's why because you just, especially in the transfer portal era, you
It was
don't
like,
know who's
like
good.
the headlines are like Boston College stuns Florida State. I'm like, explain to me again how they stunned them, because I just watched them play terribly to Georgia Tech. You know, like it's actually not being stunned, because
It's, man,
from watching the first game, they weren't very good.
all because they got the number 10 next to their name.
Yep.
So yeah, man. So
Let's
let
get
us know
to
what
the
y'all
NFL.
think. Yep, let us know what y'all think, man. Where are you at? I know you're in the draft right now. What pick?
Oh,
are
no,
you?
no. It starts at 7:30. So yep.
7:30. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Cool. All right, so let's jump into this NFL. Let us know what y'all think about week 1 of college football. What were your reactions to what happened? What do you think
Veloso
about
has
the
the
topics?
7th pick. So, once the pick pops up, if we're on live, then collectively the whole chat will pick for Veloso. So, he's got another draft right now, and he's letting me be the general manager of his draft he can't attend. So, so if you guys want me to give him Harrison Butker at pick number 7, just give me thumbs ups in the chat.
All right, man. Let's jump into this NFL talk. All right, so the season kicks off tomorrow. I actually thought about asking you to do a live stream, but I changed my mind at the last minute. I'm like, I'm good. Like, you got a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I keep going back and forth on if I want to go to it or not. Like, the tickets aren't crazy. Like, I found tickets for like 160, 170.
Is that nosebleed?
I mean, it's upper. It's not nosebleed, but it's the upper deck. Yeah, but it's like row like 15. So it's not. I think it goes all the way up to like 30 or something like that, like way up there.
Now you got me on StubHub looking here. Not that I planned on going.
Yeah, I know there was like 162 for like a ticket, and like the. But yeah. So I kind of was going back and forth on that, but I don't know. I might just save the money and watch it.
Yeah, I'm looking real quick on StubHub. I see the cheapest ticket is 144, section 308, row 28. It was on StubHub right now.
Yeah, that's probably right up the top. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you can sit. Somebody bought a ticket in section 227, row 7, for $1,000 a piece.
I'm good.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah. That's crazy. Anyway. All right. So Chiefs Ravens kick off the NFL season tomorrow night in Arrowhead. Chiefs are the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. But before we get into that, I got this question, man, because it has been bugging me. This question has actually been on, granted, we haven't done a lot of shows over the summer, but this question has been on just about every rundown I've put together since about probably the NBA Finals. Do you feel that the NFL is oversaturating their product? And so I want to give you the context of why I asked this question. You look at what's happening with Hard Knocks. They have off-season Hard Knocks. They have preseason Hard Knocks. They're going to have in-season Hard Knocks, I think, with the NFC North. You have football being played tomorrow night and Friday night. By the way, if you don't know, there's a game happening in Brazil where apparently it is very unsafe to play football. I'm not sure why they're there, but for everything I keep hearing, that they're basically told, you guys are going to show up, get off the plane, go to the stadium, play the game, keep your pads on. We're getting back on the bus, go straight to the plane, and we're going home. That's basically, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's happening on Friday night. You're going to have, during the week of Christmas, you're going to have games on Sunday. Let me get it right. Monday, Tuesday. I think they skip a day. So I think Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They've also floated this idea of, in the coming years, of adding an 18th game and starting the season on Labor Day with games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So with that as the context,
Yeah.
Do you feel like the NFL is starting to oversaturate the product with just how much content they're trying to pump out?
So I don't watch a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen Hard Knocks. I've never watched Hard Knocks.
Real
I,
never?
I mean, I might have caught an episode maybe 1 year of something because like a clip on Twitter was like, you need to go watch this, and like I pulled it up to watch it, but I've never like sat down and watched a season of Hard Knocks. Uh, but with how they're operating with the Super Bowl to straight into the draft, I think they moved it. They wanted to move the draft up a week or two or something like that. They're literally trying to keep football on your mind every month of the entire year, and like I know that like accessibility like that can kind of make things like you can be magnified, like, oh, but like just watching and being inside all the information, the Netflix show, quarterback, wide receiver, the Hard Knocks, and this, that, and have all that kind of accessibility and everything, it can kind of burn you out a little bit, and so, but for me, like, because I'm such a sports fan, right? Like I'm used to watching NBA every night of the week. I'm used to watching the Royals every night of the week, right? Like if football was just on every night of the week, I wouldn't look at this as like, yeah, y'all are doing too much, me personally. But that's just because I really don't tap into a lot of, the TV shows and the reality this and the reality that. But like I said, like mom said, if people just got too much money, they want to make more money. They want to, the NFL is probably the number one watched, like sport.
Oh yeah, like every year when you look at the most watched TV
Yeah.
shows, the NFL, if you do like a top 50, like 35 to 40 are going to be NFL. Probably another 5 to 6 are going to be college, and then
Yeah.
you'll have like the Bachelorette finale.
Yeah, like football is just it's king, So ads, commercials, all that good stuff, like But you're right. I mean, with that, and then with the addition of just DraftKings, FanDuel, the betting, and everything, we've already had an episode where we talked about all that too.
Man.
Like it's here, money, 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 money.
Man, so shout out to Smoke Kings. He said it's a lot, and I agree. I like you. First of all, let's put this disclaimer out here now on the eve of the kickoff of the NFL season. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, look at me. If you're listening on podcasts, pause it. Go to YouTube, search Brains and Bars. You'll find this episode 124.
52-minute mark, 35 seconds.
There you go. Thereabouts. Friends, don't let friends watch bad football. I'm going to say that again. Friends, don't let friends watch bad football. But A1, I got money on the game. It doesn't matter. Your watching is not going to change the outcome. But I got this guy. If he scores a touchdown, I win my league. You are not going to help that young man score a touchdown nor keep him out of the end zone. If that game is trash, you are wasting your life, young man. Like, I hate to go Paul Washer on you. For those who don't know, Paul Washer was a preacher who basically made you feel bad for doing anything other than living like a Puritan. But that's neither here nor there. That's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Don't waste your life watching bad football. You don't have to watch that game, my guy. Dog. Like, don't want to waste my life. You don't have to watch that game. And I get it. You have all these factors and these things that tell you have to. You do not have to watch bad football.
Bad football is better than the best soccer.
Oh, you a lie. You a lie and a half. Now, we ain't got a lot to kick it. Shout out to Shocker. You ain't got a lot to kick it. The best soccer match is 10 times more entertaining than bad football.
Hey, man.
But now, like, I do think they are oversaturating. Like when they announced that they were playing this game on Friday between the Packers and the Eagles, which is a game that I want to watch. Shout out to EJ Bowser in the building. Which is a game I want to watch. Like, I'm like, bro, it's Friday night. Like, I could be taking my girl on a date. Listen, in the last couple of years, I've taken my wife out
Make
more.
sure when you get her on the table, you get the chair where you can see the TV. You know what I mean? Like, she can sit that way. You got the Packers and the Eagles back here on that one.
Now, listen. I did ruin a date night during the playoffs. We went out when the Chiefs played the Bills in the playoffs. And when McCole fumbled at the goal line, we were having a great night too. Great conversation. I'm staring deeply into her eyes.
Yeah.
We are having a great time. And McCole fumbled that ball, and I went like this to the rest of the game. The rest of the game. And I looked at her and I said, so the game ended. I said, you ready to go? And she just looked at me like, bruh, like you where have like thank you for rejoining the date after you've been gone for the past 30 minutes. So fellas, if you're going to go out on a date during the NFL game, please try to make sure there are no TVs around. You got to go to a place, a nice upscale restaurant that doesn't have TVs by the bar that you can watch the game. I'm just telling you. But but yes, I do think they're oversaturating. I do think they need to scale back. Unfortunately, they're not, because like you said, for all the reasons you just listed, money is king, and they're going to keep pumping out all this content. But dog, ain't nobody trying to watch football all day and all night, except on Saturdays and Sundays. That's the acceptable time, right? That's when we want to do that. So let's jump into this season real quick, man. So we're just going to skip ahead and go to, I have this question for you. What teams that made the playoffs last year will not make it this year? So you can take one team from the AFC, one team from the NFC. All right. So we'll start with the AFC. These are the teams that made the playoffs: Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Ravens, Steelers. Which of those 7 teams, will not make it back to the playoffs this year?
So I'm gonna pick one, and I'm gonna pick my dark horse. My team that won't make it back to the playoffs is the Browns. Probably an easy pick. They still do have a really good defense. I think Deshaun Watson is just a shell of himself. Amari Cooper's getting a little older. They really haven't. They're out. Nick Chubb's not there for the first 4 games. Drew Ford is actually a pretty good running back, but he's not Nick Chubb. So I'm taking the Browns. The dark horse would be the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills, their division's gotten a lot better, and they've lost their skill position. Like they lost Dave Davis, they lost Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's going to have to do, I think, a lot more with his legs and carry that offense a lot more. I appreciate you, EJ. So I think that that's the dark horse to miss the playoffs for me. It's either the Bills or the Dolphins. Somebody from that division. I don't know that they get them in with the Jets, because I foresee, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, the Jets making a playoff run.
Okay. So I'm going to take the Steelers to not make the playoffs. Even though I do think that God has taken Deshaun Watson's ability to play football as punishment for getting away with what he was doing down in Houston. Shout out to T-Rex. He got away with it, but he didn't get away with it.
Yeah.
I think that their defense is stout enough to make it happen. I do think Russell Wilson is potentially a shell of himself. And I think for the first time, Mike Tomlin is going to go below 500, and that he is not going to make the playoffs this year. So that's my team that I think will not make the playoffs from last year. And I'm going to go with the Dolphins as the dark horse to not make the playoffs. I think that they suffered 2 catastrophic injuries at the end of the year. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips both tore their ACLs, and Jalen Phillips in particular was having a really good year, a breakout year for him. Do they have the pieces to replace them until they come back? What will they look like when they finally get back? And I think defensively, they're going to be hindered too much to make a run. All right, so let's jump to the NFC. The 7 teams that made the playoffs last year: Niners, Lions, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Bucks, Eagles. Which of those 7 do you see missing the playoffs this year?
I'm going to go with, and this is going to lead into my predictions that we're about to get to. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to end up winning that division, and I think that's a one spot division. I don't think multiple teams are going to get from that division. So I'm taking the Buccaneers. If I had to have a dark horse to not make the playoffs, I would go. Man, that's tough, because I don't foresee the Niners, Packers, Lions, Cowboys, or Eagles not doing it, and I don't, and the Rams is not really a dark horse. That's more of that's kind of a. All right, I'll take the Niners. I'll take the Niners as a dark horse.
Look at you stealing my thunder.
Yeah, I want to do that so you can't play your pessimistic game of, oh, my team is just gonna fall apart. So I'll take the Niners.
I actually believe it though. Like this isn't me being a pessimist this time, partly, but I agree. I think the Bucks don't make it in. I think the Falcons are going to be much improved. The Falcons also are going to benefit from, I believe, either a third place schedule. They'll benefit from a third place schedule because the Panthers finished last in that division. With all the additions that they've made through trades and free agency, I think they're going to be a team they're going to win their division. And I think the Niners, just because, again, I'm going to go back to this. I think that they have great frontline. They're like the Clippers, right? And here's what I mean by that. The Clippers, when they had Chris Paul, when they had somebody's going to try to make that analogy between Doc Rivers and Kyle Shanahan. And when they had Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and them all in their primes, their starting five by advanced metrics was the best starting five in the league for like several years. But once they got to their bench, because they didn't have the requisite depth on the bench, they will always fall apart because you can only play your starters but so much. The reason I'm bringing that up is because when you look at Kittle, Debo, Trent Williams, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, you look at Fred Warner, Travarius Ward, Talanoa Hufunga's coming back off an ACL. He wasn't all pro. I think he was a Pro Bowler though. We look at all the talent they have on the front lines. They're really, really good. The problem is if they get injured or they don't stay healthy, that's when the issues arise because they don't have enough depth because the Niners have had horrendous misses at the top of the draft. Hold up. Smoke Kings, what are we not doing? I'm sorry, I didn't see that comment.
It's probably because he said fins up earlier. So I think it's probably a little. I think when you said the Dolphins, I think I saw him say fins up earlier. So when you said the Dolphins might not make the playoffs.
Yep, you're right. Sorry, I mean that's just how I call it how I see it.
Yeah,
maybe they prove me wrong, but I do think the Niners are the dark horse to not make the playoffs. I think the Bucks are the team that I will take who will miss the playoffs from last year. All right, let's get into these predictions. I'm going to take notes as we go, so we have these on record, not just visually and on. I don't want to have to go back and listen to the podcast to figure out what we said. I just want to have it in front of me. All right, AFC East. Who is your division winner?
My division winner in the AFC East is the New York Jets.
Same. I'm with you on that. I think obviously health plays a part, but if they stay healthy, I think that's the team. All right, AFC West. Who you got?
AFC West is Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going with the Los Angeles. I'm kidding. I'm not doing that again. I did that last year. That turned out terribly for me. I'm going with the Chiefs, man, on the road to try to repeat. All right, AFC South. Who you got?
AFC South. Man, this is a tough one for me. Everybody's going Texans, but part of me really likes what the Jaguars did in the offseason.
I need to look at that depth chart.
They brought in Gabe Davis. Oh, man. All right, I'm just going to stick with the Texans, though. I'm going to take the Texans.
Hold on. Let me look at that depth chart here real quick. I want to see. I know they drafted Brian Thomas Jr. They brought in Gabe Davis. I think they brought in
Christian Kirk.
They got Christian Kirk. They lost Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Okay, they brought Eric Armstead in.
I think ETN could be one of the best running backs in the league.
Yes, I agree. I'm probably going to agree with you and go Texans. Mm-hmm. I need Trevor Lawrence to show me something here. I need him to show me that he can be one of the preeminent quarterbacks in the league. So I think we're going to agree on that one. All right, here we go. AFC North. Who you got?
I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals to win that division over the Ravens. I know the Ravens have been I'm taking the Bengals. I think Burrow back healthy. I think they're the team to beat.
So you're not concerned that Chase is going to be sitting out at least? I don't think he's playing this week. I think he's I don't think he's going to play until he gets his money.
There's a concern there, but I mean, they also have Higgins, and I think that they'll be all right. But yeah, I'm still taking the Bengals. They have who they're playing this week. I think that's a pretty good chance they're going to win, right? Like it was I didn't.
I
Really
mean, the Patriots, they should
yeah.
win.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think they chase for that game. Hopefully it's a Chris Jones situation where Jamar Chase is sitting up in the Raptors with his agents, watching game one, and then he gets a phone call, and
All right. I'm going Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to repeat. I know they've had some losses, right? They lost Patrick Queen. That was a big one. But they added, Derrick Henry. I think I like what they did in the draft. They got Nate Wiggins, a cornerback. I feel like cornerback was one of their weaker spots. So I like what they've done, and I think they're going to. Repeat in their division.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Wait, what did I just do? I don't know what I just did. Is there like a 4 screen going on?
No, it's the same thing. You just put my mom's comment up there.
I don't know what I did to my screen here on my computer. It looks really wild. It's like a 4 screen going on. Wait, I think I know what I did. Hold on. Yep, I know what I did. All right.
But my mother was saying the battle rap's much safer than football was for me because I played football for like 4 years, and I'm sorry you guys had to see that. But I didn't weigh more than 100 pounds until like my sophomore year of high school. So, the injury, I mean, just people smacking me in the helmet almost knocked me over because I was so small and brittle, So even though I had a good arm and I was pretty, decent quarterback all through middle school. Yeah, so battle rap is much safer. It's funny that she says that because every weekend when I go battle somewhere, she's like, "Who are you going with? Like, do you know people there? Like, are you got so."
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. So that's it for the AFC. Let's jump into the NFC. NFC East.
NFC East, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys, even though they have questions at running back, defense is solid. You got CeeDee Lamb signed his contract. You got Dak, I think. And I also just think that I think these guys are playing to it's weird because it's like I think they want to shut Jerry Jones up, you know what I mean? But at the same time, winning is just going to make him, even happier. It's a weird dynamic.
Make him richer.
Yeah, make him richer. But I just think there's a little chip on the Cowboys' shoulder, and I'm taking them over the Eagles in the East.
This is tough. I'm going with Philly. I wanted to go with Dallas. I think that they're going to be a little bit better. They got a top-notch running back. I think, defense is going to be a little bit better. They went and tried to shore up their defensive secondary. So I got Philly winning over Dallas. Let's see. Let's go to the West.
West. I have the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, I believe that San Francisco wins that division outright pretty clearly by a couple games.
So I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. Again, this is not me being a pessimist.
Yeah.
This is not me being a pessimist. I think the difference is I feel like the Los Angeles Rams have drafted better over the last few years than the Niners. Hold on, let me look at their draft history here because I think they've hit on a few picks in their last couple of drafts that can help make the difference. Oh God, I put Los Angeles. It put up the Kings. I don't care about hockey, guys. Let me see here. All right, so they got Jared Verse. They went back to back Florida State. Jared Verse and Brayton Fisk. Brayton Fisk was the lineman that I could not remember. Blake Corum, I think, was really good. Cameron Kitchens is a safety out of Miami. I think that could be good. Jordan Whittington had a really good preseason, and I know Sean McVay said that he's going to try to find some ways to utilize him during the season. But last year, Byron Young, Tennessee guy.
Yep,
he was really good.
Really well.
Kobe Turner, I like that pick. Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they found some people. Kobe Durant, Kyron Williams, right? Darion Kendrick got starts for them last year. Russ Yeast started for them last year. Tutu Atwell, right? So they found players in the draft that, whether it's depth or whether they're really good starting players, that can keep you from having to pay, guys $1 billion and stressing your cap out and figuring out how you're going to keep this guy or let that guy walk, so on and so forth. So that's why I think the Rams are doing it. Again, not a pessimist, just being a realist on that one. NFC South.
South would be okay. Let's see. Oh, we already talked about that. I got the Falcons winning the NFC South. I got
Agreed.
I think that the addition of Kirk Cousins, the new coaching staff, I got the Falcons taking that division.
And listen, if something should happen to Kirk Cousins, I trust Michael Penix right now. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I trust Michael Penix if they need it.
You don't trust the GOAT of all backup quarterbacks if something happens to Brock Purdy.
No, I trust Josh Dobbs for like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, let's go. Baby.
I trust him for 3 or 4 games.
I ain't mad at that.
Anything beyond that is you're rolling the dice. It's a crapshoot. All right, NFC North.
NFC.
Oh, we're live.
The draft just started. We're live. NFC North. Okay, yeah, I'm taking. Man, as much as I kind of would love to pick a little upset here, I'm sticking with the Lions. I think the Lions win the NFC North. They're just too good. They're coaching from the coaching to offense to defense, offensive line. Like they're just really good. Green Bay is going to be a very formidable, option there. But I'm taking the Lions.
All right. So now the moment of truth. Super Bowl prediction. Who you got?
The moment of truth is somebody picking Breece Hall with the first pick of this draft. All right, then. Never say die is his name, but I feel like that his team just said that just right off the jump. The second guy is like, how did that happen? Super Bowl pick. I'm taking Kansas City Chiefs 3-peat over the Dallas Cowboys in New Orleans. And they're playing in New Orleans this year, right?
Yes.
Yep. I'm taking the Chiefs over the Cowboys.
If you got the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, man, like that would be wow. The ratings would be unbelievable just to get the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. And
it would just like imagine if something crazy happened, the Cowboys won, like their fans would be so back to like we stopped the 3-peat. Like it would just like it wouldn't just be a Super Bowl for them. It would just invigorate, if that's the word, like oh my gosh, yeah. But Chiefs winning. Oh, you paused. You got yep. You had to turn your camera off and back on or something. All right. Nope. So, Christian McCaffrey goes second in this draft. Bijan Robinson third. CeeDee Lamb fourth. And now we are on pick number 5. And we have pick number 7. While A1 figures out what he's got to do to get his camera back going. I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have a good chance of making it back to the Super Bowl. And I think, I'm on the clock. Ah, crap. All right. I don't really like a lot of these picks. Jamar Chase, we just talked about him not being there maybe for the first couple games. Loso probably would want me to take Justin Jefferson because the Vikings is his favorite team. But the quarterback play, like we don't know if he's going to be – I'm taking Saquon Barkley. Boom. We got Saquon Barkley. Let's see if A1's able to get back into the chat. If not, he'll text me, and we will go ahead and end this segment of It's a Black and White Thing. But, yeah, I think that the Chiefs – oh, there we go.
Yeah, so I got a phone call, and it just, like, messed up everything. Well, so you took Saquon. I heard that.
Yeah. So I could have had Justin Jefferson. He might be mad. We'll see. But man, I just don't trust Sam Darnold.
Justin everybody told me that Justin is quarterback proof. All right. So let me get my picks out the way. I'm trying to think. What was the last thing I heard you say? You said you were talking about Cowboys. I don't know how I'm gonna fix this in post, but I'll figure it out. All right. So you got Chiefs over Cowboys. I'm going to go 2 snake-bitten franchises. Franchises that have endured lots of misery over the years. One in particular has found the banana peel over and over again, but this is going to be the year where they break that curse and they are able to say they're champions. So, with that being said,
the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's not who I'm going with.
Oh, keep going.
Shout out to Gang Green. Shout out to 3 Letterman. Shout out to all the Jets fans across the world. I'm going to say that the Jets are finally going to get over their misery, and they are going to defeat the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is going to win his second MVP, his Super Bowl MVP, and I think he's going to retire after winning his second Super Bowl.
I ain't mad at it. I like it. And the ratings will be
Absolutely not. Those ratings. So I heard somebody say this. I think it was on Dan Patrick's show. Like, some of the most expensive tickets this season involve the Lions.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I know they said that a lot of their fans had bought tickets to the Super Bowl. There are a lot of fans in Vegas because they thought they were going to beat the Niners. So trust me, if they actually make it, New Orleans is going to be a lot of what up, doe happening down in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I got Jets over Lions. We'll see what happens, man. To those who were watching, I apologize. I got a phone call. I got to make sure I turn on my do not disturb. And it was a scam, likely too.
We took Puka. We took Puka with the second round.
I like that. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. Olave was available and Mike Evans, but I went Puka.
I like that. I like that pick a lot. All right. Well,
Kyren Williams with the double running backfield, which would have been kind of nice. Saquon and Kyren.
Yeah, I mean, most of my drafts, I try to make sure we went wide receiver, running back, or vice versa in the first 2
Yeah, because this is a flex league, so it's not like an offensive player. So
no PPR.
Yes, it is PPR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least you got 2 running backs who are going to catch the ball at the backfield too. So
yeah.
Although Kyren returning kicks like that,
I didn't take Kyren. I took Puka, but
I know, yeah. But I was just thinking about that because I think I picked up Kyren in one of my leagues. I always made sure if I took Kyren, I made sure to get Blake though because that definitely concerns me.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's our time, man. We appreciate y'all for sticking through us through the technical difficulties. We appreciate y'all watching. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for It's a Black and White Thing, liking the content, sharing the content, give us 5 stars. You can also check us out on YouTube weekly. Search Brains and Bars, hit the notification bell, subscribe, tell a friend, it's those boys again. And until next time, it's been a black
and white
thing. I also forgot to shout out to social media. It's at Brains and Bars, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next time, y'all be easy. Happy NFL opening night. Y'all be easy. Mama Ward, appreciate you sticking through the technical difficulties. Have a good night. And we'll holler at y'all, man.
Yep.